The Wanderer is currently the most common entity in the game right now, with a rarity of 1000. However, this does not make it the easiest to deal with, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can still easily die to it. As long as you have obstacles in the way, the Wanderer shouldn't be able to kill you that well. However, this does not mean that it can't catch up to you, because due to its 20 run speed, it can easily kill you. Remember, the Wanderer does not have any special ability, so it should be easy to deal with as long as you keep your distance. The Eyemaster has a rarity of 500, so you'll still see it frequently in your games. There are two things to keep in mind for the bestiary entry for the Eyemaster. The first thing is that it has an insane run speed of 40. Next, the description states something important. It seems to act differently depending on if its eyes are closed or not. This is because the Eyemaster has two different forms, its closed eye form and its opened eye form. In its closed eye form, the Eyemaster uses a regular walk speed of 10, so it shouldn't be able to catch up to you. The problem with the closed eye form is that the Eyemaster won't leave its area that it's currently in, so if it's in the elevator, it will continue to walk in circles until it reverts back into its opened eye form. This can be a big problem if you're trying to save power, because the Eyemaster is wasting your time and your power is slowly going down. Of course, the Eyemaster in its closed eye form can still be aggroed, so if you happen to aggro it, it'll still charge at you with its run speed of 40. The Eyemaster's other form, the opened eye form, is known to cause everyone problems. This is because it uses its run speed, 40, as its normal walk speed. So if the Eyemaster happens to target you in its opened eye form, you'll find that you'll have a very little chance of surviving. The Floraflies are a somewhat unique type of entity. The two things to notice with this are the rarity and its walk speed and run speed. The rarity is a bit misleading here. Even though it says the rarity is 50, it has an increased chance of spawning on its own map, the Firefly Equinox map. Therefore, if you get this map, you will almost always see the Floraflies on this map. The Floraflies have a walk speed and a run speed of 14, so you might be able to deal with them easily if you know what you're doing. There are two circumstances that I'll show you. First, if you create enough space, you should be able to outrun it if you run to a dead end. So as long as you move in the right directions, you should be fine. In some situations, the Florafly's hitbox can be pretty annoying, so if you think you're going to survive but don't move correctly, you can still die. The Ashenflies are very similar to the Floraflies. However, if you look at the rarity, you'll see something unusual, and that is that the rarity is 0. This is because there is currently only one way to spawn the Ashenflies right now. What you have to do is go on the Firefly Equinox map and find a hidden wall that you can walk inside. Once you find it, it will be pretty obvious because the room is glowing red. What you have to do now is make a sacrifice into the pit. If you are by yourself, you can still do this step. All you have to do now is start a new game, and the next map will be guaranteed to be the map with the Ashenflies. Once you're here, you'll notice a few things. First, you're on a new map called the Firefly Inferno. This map only has one enemy, which is the Ashenflies. Of course, the Ashenflies are very similar to the Floraflies with the same speed. The only difference is they'll have a tendency to target you more. The special thing about the Ashenflies is during the 2020 Christmas event, if you die to them, you will receive this gift that I have in my hand right now, the Blazing Gift of Ashen. This is why you might see everyone die to it during this event. The smile is very different from all of the other entities in the game. First, it can only be found on floors 3+, so you might think that this makes it harder to deal with because you find it on later levels, but you would be incorrect. Actually, the smile doesn't kill you, but instead, it paralyzes you when you walk into it. While the smile may be harmless, like the description says, if there are other entities around, it can be a huge problem. When it first spawns on the map, you should see that it's not moving at all on the map. In fact, the smile doesn't move until you start getting close to it. Once you get into its aggro range, it will start slowly moving towards you until it touches you, and then it will stun you. If you are expecting it though, it shouldn't be a problem. The most important thing to keep in mind is, if one person triggers it, it will teleport to any part of the map. That could be next to you, or that could be in an entirely different corridor. Just make sure that you aren't triggering it when enemies are still around.